So, first session on the new syndicate after the Tench. Middle of April, so it's probably a little bit early really. There's not been a lot of fish coming out as far as I'm aware. A handful of Tench have been caught out of this lake. And I'm just down for the day. So as you can see, I've got my rods out. I've got a method feeder about 4 rod lengths out in the margins, really at the bottom of the drop off, and then the other 2 are on spots further out at 11-foot. Worm kebab on one and maggot feeder on the other, so I'm hedging my bets a bit really, trying a bit of everything, and hopefully we'll get a bit of interest on at least one of these rods, and we'll be able to kickstart the season. Well, it's about 11 o'clock in the morning and I've got my first fish of the session, and it is a tinker, first of the season. It's a high 4-pounder, not quite 5 pounds. You can see there's some predation marks there, whether that's a catfish or a pike I'm not sure, but still, it's always great to get your first tench off a new venue, and a new one of the first of the season as well. So delighted with this otherwise mediocre tench. But let's put it back and get that rod back out. This one's caught in the margins at the bottom of the drop off on worm. Happy days. Still the one tench. I've had a few sort of small bites, I think probably a combination of crayfish and maybe silvers, sort of yanking at the baits, and that's on all 3 rods as well. But I've put a little bit more bait out, and I'm going to give it probably a couple more hours, maybe fish till about 9 o'clock. It's definitely cooler than it has been, but that water temperature is really warm, so there's absolutely no reason why now it's quieting down a bit we shouldn't get another bite really. Hopefully the tench are going to move along this marginal shelf and come across the small scattering of bait that I put in. I haven't gone over the top till still sort of early season, so only put a couple of spoms over each spot, so we'll see how it goes anyway. Well, it's coming up to 8 o'clock and I'm probably going to call it a day, but very happy to have got the first fish of the season and the first fish from a new venue out of the way. So frankly, I can't wait to get back down here again, tweak a few things, and hopefully we'll start getting amongst some of these tench and find some of the bigger ones that I know are in here. Well, got my second fish from the new pit. That's a nicer fish. It's what I call a proper tench. 7 pound 9 ounces. Oh, she's a bit lively because she's been well rested. She's lovely, spotless tinker. There she is. A lovely, lovely fish. And now let's be trying something a little bit different. I've fished this swim a few times now. Only had the one fish so far, and this is my second at the swim. Just tweaking things a little bit. It seems to have made the difference. And interestingly, this bite came whilst there was a speedboat and a water skier buzzing around right on my spot. I was getting angry with them. The bobbin popped out of the rod, and I thought it was the waves smashing against the rods, and it wasn't. It was a fish because it kept taking the line. But anyway, let's get this beauty back. So I've got a couple of carp moving around in my swim. Completely disinterested in bottom baits though. Just cruising around. Right, well, just lost the light, and I was just sitting down to have my hot chocolate, my little nightcap before I went to bed, and I've had a double run. So there's the first one, probably mid-4, something like that. And there's the second one, which is a bit bigger. It's probably high 6, low 7. From different spots completely, but within 2 minutes of each other. Weird, huh? That's the way it goes sometimes. But let's get these fish back and get those rods back out, because if there's fish turning up and feeding, we need those baits in the water. Happy days. So I'm back on the big pit, the big new pit for the season. It's been a while since I've been on here, and this is my first, what I consider to be, proper session really. I've got 2 nights on here this weekend, and we've got a lovely warm breeze blowing into this bank, sort of west-southwesterly. And yeah, the conditions look really good for it. I've got some mates who fished along this bank recently, earlier on this week, and they really struggled, mind you, which I don't really understand because all the conditions just seem perfectly spot on for it now. But I've got as you can see, I've got the rods out. Got each rod at a different length, different distance, and fishing worms. That seems to be the bait that's done it for me so far this season on this pit. There are crays in here that can be a bit of a pain, but not too bad at the moment. A little bit of action from the crays, but it's not crazy. So last time I was on here, I had that sort of double hookup at about 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 fish from completely different spots, picking up the bait at pretty much the same time, within 2 minutes of each other. So that was kind of odd, but yeah, 2 o'clock in the morning. Other fish I've had from here have come sort of late morning or early evening, so there doesn't seem to be a very obvious feeding pattern. But hopefully we'll get a bit of action. I've not put in any bait other than what's been going out in the feeders. I've been sort of regularly casting the feeders every 30 minutes. Decided to try to build up a swim, relying just on the feeders because they don't seem to react particularly positively to a bed of bait. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Well, it's just gone 10 o'clock in the evening and I've had my first bite of the session, and it's a tench. £7.2 on the worm, and very nice to have the first fish of the session in the net. So let's put her back and get that rod back out on that spot. See if we can get another one. Lovely. So it's about 6 o'clock now, and just the one fish through the night. Have just started to see a few fish rolling out there. I've seen 4 tench roll about, well, kind of in the zone really. One was a lot further out, but 3 of them have been pretty much in the zone, so that's kind of promising that there's definitely fish out there. It's that time-old dilemma of whether to put bait out or sit on my hands. Just hope they pick up the hook baits. I have moved the short margin rod out to the same areas where I've seen these tench rolling. So I've got 2 rods out there now, and then I've got one a bit further, a bit longer, which is the one that did the fish in the night. So it's at 6 o'clock in the morning. I've got my second fish of the session. It's a fat one. 6'11", but what a little fatty. Obviously very spawny, but cracking fish. Anyway, let's put her back straight away. This is from the shorter spot. It's a 5-pounder. Again on the worm. But that's good, so I've had fish from both of my spots now. And yeah, hopefully there's a few more to come, because it's sort of early in the session still, really. Still got another couple of days, really. So anyway, let's put this back. Happy days though, eh? Nice to be catching a few fish. Well, day 2, about 5 o'clock, and out of the blue, a couple of beeps. Went to investigate, probably craze. Probably moved a little bit more, so I hit it. 8.4. It's the best one I've had out of here so far. Nice fatty bumbatty. You can see it's quite spawny. Big fat belly on her. What a lovely, lovely fish though. Awesome. Off she goes. What a cracker. So it's about 4 o'clock in the morning of the 3rd day. Gonna be fishing until, I don't know, just after lunchtime probably. So we're coming into what I think is the prime time again. Just judging on when I've caught fish on the previous couple of days. It's been sort of in the mornings. There's one fish at night time, but I think sort of 5 in the morning, 11 in the morning, and then sort of noon time. So yesterday morning we actually saw quite a few fish rolling, which is the first time I've had that on this pit. So I'm up nice and early. I've rebaited, recast, and looking now at the water, seeing if I can see any signs of any tench. And yeah, I'm gonna work these feeders hard, recasting every sort of 40 minutes probably, and see if we can get ourselves another fish or two. I mean, they're in prime condition for, you know, big weights, as you've seen on those 2 fish that I've had that have got big spawny bellies. They're going to be, you know, get the right fish, and it could be a massive, massive tench. Another 8-pounder, 8.14. Okay, so this is the rig that I've been using to catch all these lovely tincas. You've got the main line coming along here to a small Drennan float stop, and then you've got a bank tackle chod bead that I've cut down. They're normally about that long, and I've cut it down to make the gap between the 2 beads a bit smaller. This top bead pops off, and this is the important bit that makes it safe. If snagged, that will pop off, and it's really important that the float stop is small enough for that bead to pass over if everything gets snagged, because that is what's going to release the hook link for the fish and stop it from getting tethered. I've then got a hard glass bead which has got a hole big enough to sit over the knot that I've used to attach this rig ring. You want to make sure the rig ring is kind of rounded in circumference, not a flat rig ring, because the rounded one won't break the line, whereas a flat one will cut through the line. And then I've got a lighter rotten bottom down to my feeder. So in this case I'm using 10-pound mainline and 8-pound rotten bottom going from the rig ring down to the feeder. I've got like a trimmed down tail rubber from a leg clip that I put over the swivel, and then I've got a Corum combi feeder with the caps on, and I fill that with chopped worm and either worm cast soil that the worms come in, or some sort of ground bait. I'm actually using fish meal free ground bait today that I'm mixing in with the chopped worm, because there's a lot of crayfish out there, and so I don't want to be putting the fish meal out there, because that will just draw the crays in. And then I've got a short hook link, probably about 5 inches long. I use mono, 10-pound mono, going down to a size 12 hook, and I'm using a Corum quick stop, one of those little spikes that you push through the worms to worm kebab. The rotten bottom is really important on a weedy venue in particular, because this feeder hangs down below the rig when you're playing a fish and can quite often get caught in the weed. So the rotten bottom enables you to break the line between the rig ring and the feeder, lose the feeder but still save the fish and land the fish. So anyway, that's the safe heli rig. Works a treat. Give it a go. So it's about 5:30 in the morning now, and I've got the rods rebaited, nothing through the night. Last morning, probably going to fish until about 11, 12 o'clock time, and then head home, and that will be my tench fishing done for at least 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So I'm going to, I think, miss the opportunity of the really big one.
But so far, it's been a decent session. Best one I've had on here, on this water, since I joined up this season. And like I say, there's a few more hours yet, and actually I've had a few fish sort of between 5 and midday. So there's definitely still a good chance. I put a bit of bait out last night on my shorter area, and on this water it just seems to be the death of it when you put a bit of bait in. Nothing through the night, but a bit of time has obviously passed now, and hopefully the fish are going to move on at some point and we'll get a chance. She's a chunk. Looks like a 9-pounder to me. So I've extended my stay by an extra night, and it's been so quiet through the night and the morning, but I'm glad I stayed because I've got a cracking tench of 9 pound 3 ounces, and it's just such a beautiful fish. It's been resting in the net, so it's a little bit sprightly, but have a look at that bad boy, or bad girl shall we say. What a beautiful, beautiful tench. 9.3. Pristine fish though, look at it. Beautiful proportions. What an absolute cracker. That's what we come fishing for, isn't it? What a lovely, lovely fish. Over the moon. So glad I took that extra day, that extra night, unplanned. But well worth the wait on a lovely morning. Awesome. Anyway, let's get her back. I lost a fish just before this, so obviously we've kind of stumbled into bite time, it would seem. So yeah, got to get those rods back out and give it another go. Brilliant though, stunner. Well, I've packed away just about everything. It's just got the rods and the mat and net out now. But I've just had another fish, and they're beautiful fish in this pit, I have to say. Absolutely stunning. This one's a 7.2, but again, it's absolutely pristine. Aren't they just cracking tench? Look, they're just lovely. Fin perfect. Another 7, absolutely lovely. So we're going to get her back and probably call it a day, I think, reluctantly. Great session though, beautiful fish, time for a holiday.